Great Depression.
You look at the Great Depression, a defining moment for the U.S. A decade full of prosperity turned into a decade full of hopelessness. Americans experienced homelessness, poverty, and lived in places such as Hoovervilles. This is a prime example of how Americans lived during the Great Depression.
Welcome back to the show. So, Mr. Kevin Brown, discuss inflation, GDP, and also the employment program.
Okay. Well,
Great Depression.
Discussing inflation post or after 1932. Inflation occurred when there had been increases in investment in government spending, resulting in the growth of GDP. But the GDP increase in production had not been nearly enough to clear the pool of unemployment that had built up during the recession period, which we now know as the Great Depression, looking back on it 20 years plus in the 50s now. A couple of statistics for you. During the Great Depression, as we look at the years from 1929 to 1938, some of the worst years of the decade of the Great Depression. In 1929, unemployment was at 3%. 1930, 9%. 1931, 16%. Unemployed at 25%. 1934, 22%. 1935, it fell to 20%, about a fifth of the nation. 1936, unemployment dropped to 17%. 1937, lowered a little bit more to 14%. And shockingly, it rose a little bit by 5% in 1938 to 19%. And a couple of the employment programs that FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, put into place were the Civilian Conservation Corps, or the CCC, the TVA, also known as the Tennessee Valley Authority, Federal Emergency Relief Administration, FERA, and the WPA, Work Projects Administration.
Of Congress, talking about our look back on the Great Depression. The stock market crash is really what led to the Great Depression, and the reason for that, the reason for the actual stock market crash, was because federal spending was at an all-time high. It was 3 times higher than any type of tax collections. A way that people on Wall Street and business owners tried to fix this was by increasing by adjusting the interest rate in order to fit what the businesses needed to continue to thrive. Tick was basically used with the rising and adjusting of the interest rates to make the change in the stock market more efficient and swift, so that people could get their problems fixed faster and more efficiently. So in a way that didn't take as much time, and in a way that didn't take as much money from the businesses and from the actual stock market. But as a result of this, the businesses' stocks ended up getting lower because of all of the excess spending from the federal government. And this is what led to the Great Depression, as you saw earlier, with the homeless people living in the Hoovervilles, and just with all of the economic turmoil that was happening.